Lyrics from Kodak Black go like this. Guess all the pain that I went through had to be the recipe. I stood tall through it all and brought out the best of me. Thank you for joining me for another episode of the Quotes Light and Motivation Podcast with William H. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe, and share the podcast. It helps us grow. You can email the podcast at quoteslightmotivation@gmail.com. Again, that's quoteslightmotivation@gmail.com. I love this quote, man. I love this rap lyric from Kodak Black. It's from the song Malcolm XXX. It's one of my favorite songs of his. But I wanted to talk a little bit about that. What if everything that you went through was necessary to get you to this point? What if everything that you've been through in your life was necessary to get to the point you're at right now? I think a lot of times what happens with us is we compare ourselves to others, and it's dangerous, right? We compare where we're at to others. We compare our success to other people's success, and it's dangerous to do that. And the times that we're in kind of lend us, it kind of makes it, the times that we're in makes it easier for us to do that, right? With social media, and people posting only the positive things or only the highlights of their lives and only the best things on social media for the most part. It kind of lends to that where you can begin to look at what other people have achieved who are around your same age and start to compare and start to feel like what you've done, doesn't measure up to them. And then also, it also lends to keeping up with the Joneses, right? This social media thing and this age that we're in with Instagram and Twitter and Snapchat and all these different things, TikTok and so forth, all these different things. It lends ourselves to trying to keep up with what everyone else is doing. It's no longer just keeping up with your neighbor. That's what keeping up with the Joneses means is doing something to try to show that you have as much money as your neighbor. That's what keeping up with the Joneses means. And with social media, your neighbor is no longer just your next door neighbor. Your neighbor is the world, right? Whoever you're following, whoever's account you're paying attention to. We can find ourselves trying to keep up with what other people are doing, what other people are wearing, how much money they're spending, how much money they got, and all that stuff. When we're only seeing a small portion of their lives. We're not getting to see the hard things or the difficult things. We're just seeing the best and the highlights of everyone. So I want to argue that it's best to rate our successes based on how far we've traveled from where we started. So it's better to rate your success based on how far you've traveled from where you started as opposed to rating it based on what your neighbor has done or what your neighbor has achieved. What if you started to rate your success based on how far you've traveled, how far you've gotten from where you started? How much better would that be for you? How much better would you feel about where you are today? Do you ever consider how far you've come or how much you've already achieved? Do you ever consider that? Do you ever take time out of your day or, once a week or on a regular basis to look back over your life and count your blessings and, begin to think of how far you've come, how far you've traveled to get to where you are today? I think it's important that we stop and take inventory of where we are and begin to do that. You don't have to write a list or anything, but take some time to reflect on what you've already done, where you've come from. And this is kind of hitting home with me today because I was looking for a tax professional for me. I'm late with my taxes every year. It's one of those necessary pains, but I was talking to a tax professional. He gave me an estimate on how much he thinks it would cost for him to do my taxes. And I was like, really? I was annoyed, man, to be honest with you. I was annoyed with the price he gave me. Just wondering, why is it so expensive? But then, I started to look at it a different way. I started to think about, before I got to this point at where I'm at right now, when I wanted to have stock options and things like that on my tax returns, and I wanted to have real estate investment properties and things like that on my tax returns and things like that that make my taxes cost so much, or the things that I asked for, right? These are things that I was praying about and wanted so badly, not even 3, 4, 5 years ago. And now that I have it, who am I to complain about how much it costs to maintain these things that I'm able now to enjoy, these things that I've achieved. So it's just a matter of keeping things in perspective and remembering all the things that you pray for, all the things that you've wanted, and realizing what you've already achieved and what you've already attained. If you start to do that, you'll realize you're already successful. Coming from where you've come from, realizing all the adversity that you've overcome, you'll start to realize that you're already successful. You've already done more than you can ever think or imagine. You've already done more than you've already achieved some of the dreams that you've prayed about, and some of the dreams that you worried about, some of the things that you worried about, you don't even worry about anymore because of how far you've traveled, how far you've come. So yeah, it's just a matter. It's like life is all about perspective, man. It's all about perspective, about keeping a proper perspective, and not allowing other people to come in and dictate your perspective, and not allowing things or media or television or music or anything, your friends, your family, anything to interrupt your perspective, to get you out of the proper perspective. It's all about keeping the right perspective. So you gotta, as you continue on your life journey, you gotta be careful to keep the right perspective as you face different challenges in your life, because 99% or 90% of the challenges you face, or 90% of the things that you face in this life, are you versus you, right? It's man versus himself. Whether you want to get up early in the morning and work on your dream, whether you want to skip going out this weekend to save some money and invest in something that'll help you get to where you want to go, or you want to do some studying. It's all man versus himself. It's not really a game. It's more of a contest. And the only person you're in it with is yourself. Life is like a contest. You're competing against yourself. You're trying to get better and better. You're trying to improve your living situation. You're trying to improve your income. You're trying to improve, your family life, whatever it is. But it's all about you versus you, right? You got to focus on what can you do to make things better. And that's helped me a lot as well with family and so forth. It's kind of, a lot of times if you're trying to change people and trying to get them to bend to what you want them to do, that will never work. They have to want to do it for themselves. So it's more so about you, praying for them and being a resource that's available for them. But you can't force anyone to do anything. The only person you have control over is yourself. The only person you have control over is yourself. And so you have to master yourself. That's part of what this life thing is all about: mastering yourself and trying to get better. Trying to look back over, months or years and say, I have grown. I'm so glad I've grown so much in that area. I'm so glad that, I did that uncomfortable thing, and, I've achieved so much based on me stepping out and doing that uncomfortable thing. That's what life is about: continuing to grow and continuing to improve yourself. And that's the whole fun thing about life, is that everybody can be successful at something. You just got to figure out what that is for you. Some people are able to get it quickly, and others it takes years, right? Some people are able to quickly pick up on, I'm talented in this, and this is where I'm going to focus, and this is what I'm going to be, and they're able to get successful quick. Some people it takes a while longer, and that's okay. Some people have to try a few different things and fail at a few different things, and make mistakes, and until they find that area that they excel at, and they become successful in that area. So it's really about just figuring out what that area is for you. And once you figure it out, it's about the discipline of getting better at that thing. If you want to be a painter, how can you become a better painter? If you want to be a computer programmer, how can you be a better computer programmer? Are you willing to study? Are you willing to learn? If you want to be an entrepreneur and you want to own your own business, how can you be a better entrepreneur? How can you start to learn about the business that you're interested in getting into? How can you grow in that area? If you want to be an actor, how can you put yourself in front of people and audition as much as possible to get a role, or to get, different parts, or maybe you need to write your own script and write your own movie, to create whatever is in your head. But It's all about finding your niche, and once you find it, and once you're sure that this is what you want to do, going hard at it, right, and not giving up, being able to overcome, being able to outlast the adversity, right, and keeping the end goal in mind, keeping things in proper perspective, right. You may not be exactly where you want to be, but look at how far you've traveled. And I think that's so important in this age where, we want to cancel everybody every other day or every other week. We canceling somebody. It seems like every other week we canceling somebody because of a comment they made or whatever, what they've done, etc. But I just think about all the people that we say are great. All the elders that we say are great, like Maya Angelou, for example, who worked as a prostitute before becoming Maya Angelou, the amazing poet, the amazing writer. She published 7 autobiographies. And I think about people like Malcolm X, who was a burglar, arrested, thrown in jail. And then he became a minister and spokesman for the Nation of Islam and one of the great black leaders of our generation. But yeah, that's what I think. We're so quick to cancel everyone and cancel the youth. And, that's why it's partly the reason why I picked a quote from Kodak Black, because Kodak Black is kind of a controversial figure, controversial rapper, if you will. He says a lot of things, he does a lot of things, but he's young. I don't think Kodak Black is 25 years old. And he's trying to figure it out, and he's figuring it out all in front of us. But like I said, this is one of my favorite songs from him. So if you have time, check it out, Malcolm XXX. And yeah, what are you going to do this week to work on counting your blessings? How can you start to count your blessings and realize how successful you really are this week? Take some time to acknowledge what you've already accomplished. Take some time to acknowledge where you've come from and what you've already achieved. Take some time to give thanks for what you've done, what God has done, what you were able to overcome to get to where you are right now. Take some time to acknowledge where you've come and what you've done. Take some time to be thankful for all you've done. You're already successful. When you look at where you've come, when you've looked at what you had to go through, all the pain and all the suffering and all the adversity, another person might have quit, but look at what you've overcome. Look at all the things that you were able to achieve despite all the adversity you have faced. So yeah, count your blessings. Y'all have a good week.